It's summertime, and that means your mailbox has just turned into a mini oven. Should you be concerned about shipping probiotics when the temperatures are hot? Are they even safe if they've been sitting in your hot mailbox? Well, the truth might surprise you. If you've ever opened a warm bottle of probiotics and wondered, are these even still good? You're going to want to stick around. In this video, you'll discover how are probiotics protected for shipping, Bacillus probiotic benefits for hot weather shipping, and tips for shipping probiotics in hot weather. Hi, I'm Michelle Moore. I'm a microbiologist, but I'm not a doctor. This video is for educational purposes and should not be considered medical advice. If you need medical advice or help on what probiotic is right for you, be sure you talk to your medical doctor. There are hundreds of different probiotic products on the market, each with varying shipping requirements, storage, and manufacturing processes. But there are also a class of probiotics that will actually even thrive in a hot mailbox, and I'll share more about those later on in this video. But first, the majority of probiotics on the market are actually very fragile. These are the majority of the lactobacillus and the bifidobacteria species, and they need to be very much stored and shipped correctly because they're so fragile. I've heard estimates around they lose potency around 10 to 15% per month. And you can bet if they're sitting in a hot mailbox, that number is going to even go up from there. So to compensate with these fragile probiotic species, the manufacturers who make these supplements work really hard to reduce the 4 different ways that probiotics die. That is light, moisture, oxygen, and heat. And any one of those by themselves will reduce the potency of your probiotic. So to help compensate, manufacturers have come up with several strategies to try to reduce the losses of the probiotics during storage and shipping. Now the first one is a manufacturing process called freeze drying or lyophilization, and this basically removes water from the probiotics under a low temperature and vacuum so that probiotic powder becomes very dry. This allows that probiotic to have a good long-term shelf life if it's kept cool and dry, but heat and moisture during shipping or storage can still reduce the potency. A second type of manufacturing is called microencapsulation, and this is where live probiotics are actually coated in a protective shell, which could be made from food-safe materials, and that will help them survive heat and humidity and the harsh environment of your GI system. Now, these are a newer technology. These coatings are often made from natural ingredients like alginate from seaweed or chitosan from shellfish. And these are safe and commonly used in supplements, and more recently, they're used for probiotic baked foods, cereals, and nutritional bars. Now, this method offers a great boost for probiotic survival, but it is more expensive and complex to produce. Spray drying is another type of probiotic manufacturer. It has a lower cost, but again, higher heat will still reduce the viability of that probiotic. Another common manufacturing tactic is to use a very high CFU count or a high potency value, so that even if some of the probiotics die during storage or shipping or digestion, enough will hopefully still survive to reach your gut and do their job. This is used with most regular probiotics like the lactobacillus and bifidobacteria. So, however, that will still not fix the root cause, and these probiotics will still degrade in the heat. Now, this isn't a manufacturing method, but when you have a more delicate strain that can't handle the heat, a combination of cold packs, insulated shipping boxes, and expedited shipping can be used with some probiotics to help them survive hot shipping conditions. Unfortunately, this adds extra shipping costs, and it still may not fully prevent potency loss. There's another class of probiotics that are able to handle the high heat during shipping and even your mailbox. They don't require special manufacturing processes or high CFU counts. They actually come with their own built-in armor, and I'm going to share these with you now. Bacillus probiotics form a tough outer shell called a spore. You can think of these spores as like a seed. They're very tolerant to the environment, and when conditions are right, a brand new Bacillus live probiotic will emerge from the spore. And this spore form of Bacillus probiotics, they're very impervious to heat, light, oxygen, moisture, and even long-term storage. When you get a Bacillus probiotic full of these tough, resistant forms, some of them can even tolerate baking temperatures as high as 450 to 500 degrees Fahrenheit. These hardy spore formers are very resistant. They don't require refrigeration. They don't require cold packs during shipping from the manufacturer to your home. They're shelf-stable for many years, and they can even survive the hot shipping trucks, hot mailboxes, and summer heat waves. So if you're ordering probiotics by mail in the summertime, Bacillus probiotics have a lot of benefits, and one of them is you don't have to worry about them. And also worthy of mention is another heat-tolerant probiotic, and that's the probiotic yeast Saccharomyces boulardii, or SAC-B. This probiotic is also stomach acid resistant and heat resistant. It's probably not as much as a Bacillus probiotic, but much better than a Lactobacillus or a Bifidobacteria probiotic. So here are some effective tips to help your probiotic maintain its potency during shipping in hot weather. So as I mentioned earlier, most Lactobacillus and Bifidobacteria probiotics, they're fragile. They'll lose their potency quickly at room temperature. If the manufacturer says on the bottle to refrigerate, don't assume it's optional. Keep that probiotic refrigerated, and also make sure it stays on cold packs during shipping. As I've discussed, how a probiotic product is manufactured makes a big difference. Freeze-dried strains, spray-dried, and micro-encapsulated strains all behave differently in the heat. Know the shipping requirements for your specific probiotic and make sure the company you order from meets those requirements. I have to add a note here that Amazon is often not the best place to buy probiotics from, as many sellers do not properly store or ship probiotics with ice packs, even if that is the best shipping method. You'll have a much better chance of proper storage and shipping if you purchase from reputable suppliers who work direct with the manufacturer. If you're buying a regular Lactobacillus or Bifidobacteria probiotic that requires refrigeration, try to stock up during cooler months or request expedited shipping with a cold pack and insulated packaging. Or you can even buy these probiotics at a local good health food store or from your holistic or natural doctor. Bacillus probiotics, because they form that naturally heat-resistant spore, they don't need refrigeration or cold packs or expedited shipping. They're proven to survive extreme temperatures and even hot cooking temperatures. One thing to check when you're buying a Bacillus probiotic is make sure it's been tested to verify it's in 100% spore form in the bottle. Most companies don't test for this, and if the probiotics aren't in the full spore form, their heat resistance will be much lower. Now, some probiotics use that overage or the extra high potency to make sure enough bacteria survive the heat, the storage, and your stomach acid. But this doesn't make up for poor shipping, but it does help. It's important to know that while billions of CFU on the label may sound impressive, only a small fraction of that probiotic may actually survive the shipping, and even less of the probiotic will survive the acid in your stomach. For example, a Bacillus spore probiotic with millions of CFU can actually outperform a fragile probiotic with billions of CFU. So don't be misled into thinking that higher CFU counts make all the difference. There's more to the big picture than just CFU counts. Desiccants, Foil-sealed blister packs, light and oxygen barriers all help keep your probiotics alive in warm and humid environments, especially when refrigeration is not an option. So when ordering probiotics that are fragile, make sure all the packaging is intact and not damaged when you receive it. 100% spore probiotics have been shown to stay potent even after days of warm temperatures in transit, so it should not have significant losses of potency. For anyone ordering probiotics by mail, especially in warm climates, Bacillus-based probiotics offer unmatched peace of mind. My favorite 100% spore probiotic is Megasporebiotic, and you can find out more about it in the links below. Fragile probiotics can be shipped just fine in hot weather as long as they're packaged and shipped appropriately. If your probiotic does arrive warm or hot, be sure to reach out to the manufacturer or the company you purchased them from and ask them if that's okay. A lot of people also wonder if their lactobacillus or bifidobacteria probiotics, if they got hot, are they actually safe to consume? Now, if these probiotics are in powder forms, like a supplement in a capsule that's a powder or a powder sachet, they should be just fine. They won't be spoiled or bad. However, they could be partially or fully dead. So if your probiotics survived the shipping process, that's a great start. But most probiotics don't make it past the gut's natural defenses. And if they can't reach your colon alive, they can't shift the balance of the gut microbiome. To find out what probiotics actually survive the trip through the harsh GI system at 100% potency, be sure to check out my next video here.